Okay, Jai Shriman Narayana, everybody. So, as part of this Dhanurmasam, we are doing Thiruppavai Kalakshepams every day. So, today we will be doing the 21st Pasuram as part of that sequence. Uh, Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. Kasyapanvaya Sanjatam Narayana Padashritam Srimannarayanam Vande Yatiswara Shriyajasham नीलातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटे सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णं पारार्थ्यं स्वं श्रुतिशतशिरसिद्धमध्यापयन्ति स्वोच्छिष्ठायां सृजनिगलितं यावलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदा तस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः. So, kalangal edil பொங்கி மீதளிப்பா மாற்றாதே பால் சொரியும் வள்ளல் பெரும் பசுக்கள் ஆற்றப் படைத்தான் மகனே அறிவுராய் ஊற்றமுடையாய் பெரியாய் உலகனில் தோற்றமாய் நின்ற சுடரே துயிலாய் மாற்றாருனக்கு வலி தொலைந்து உன் வாசர்கண் ஆற்றாது வந்து உன் அடிப்படியுமா போலே போற்றியாம் வந்தோம் புகழ்ந்தேலோர் எம்பாவாய். So this is the Pasuram. Today we'll spend a few minutes trying to understand the external meaning of this Pasuram, the context of this Pasuram, and the internal meaning of this Pasuram. Okay. So, in terms of the context of this Pasuram, so until yesterday, Andal, along with the Gopikas, they tried to first, they came to the home of, in Andal's visualization, they have arrived at the place of Nandagopan first. They tried to petition to Nandagopan, to Yashoda, and then after that, they have tried to pray to Balarama, and then Krishna himself. Krishna did not respond. After that, they decided that they wanted to pray to Nappinai Pirati, because she is the mediator between Jiva and Paramatma, because she is the Amsha of Mahalakshmi present at that time. So they wanted to approach through Nappinai Pirati. So they made a prayer to Nappinai Pirati at that time. So even that didn't seem to work. So, and then they got frustrated a little bit because Nappinai Pirati was not responding from inside. So they decided to pray to Krishna himself, because he is the Upayam. And then apparently Krishna did not respond to. So now they are going back to Nappinai Pirati. They are asking her, saying, you are the mediator, why don't you respond? And towards the end of the previous Pasuram, apparently Nappinai Pirati started responding to them, saying, my delay is just to make sure that at the right time I can talk to Perumal and let your thing know. Please tell me what exactly you are desiring. And then they said that we are looking for a mirror, and we are looking for a fan, and we are looking for union with him. In this way, they have concluded the previous Pasuram. And we have tried to learn that mirror is nothing but the Swaswarupa Jnanam, because mirror is something that shows us who we are, right? So in the Ashtakshari mantra, the Omkara is the thing that shows us who we are. The Jiva is meant for the sake of Paramatma. That is the true nature of Jiva, right? Our true nature is visible in a mirror. So that is what the mirror is all about. And fan is something that removes, the sweat from our body. It removes any heat from our body. This is what a fan is. So within samsara, we go through a lot of heat, right? That heat is because we think we are the enjoyer of everything. We think that we have to do things so that things get accomplished. We think that we have to protect things. So this is what creates that heat, creates that lot of tapam in us. So all of that can go away if we think that everything is not meant for us. I do not belong to me, I belong to Paramatma. Namah Padam in the Ashtakshari mantra is the fan with which we can get rid of this tapam. So this is something that has been explained in the previous Pasuram. So today, basically they are still trying to have that conversation with Nappinai Pirati. So Lord Krishna, apparently he doesn't open the door yet, and everyone tried. So now Nappinai Pirati is coming forward to help them, right? So that the nature of Mahalakshmi is that the reason she can act as a best mediator between the Jiva and Paramatma is because she belongs to the Jiva Koti, right? She is someone who can understand the problems of Jivas. She's someone, so if someone doesn't even resonate with any of our feelings or anything, then they cannot represent us truly in front of a leader or somebody else. So Mahalakshmi is someone who can actually resonate with our sufferings in this world. She can actually feel that compassion, both because she belongs to the Jiva Koti and also because she is the supreme mother, and mother can relate to the feelings of children, the sufferings of children, more than anybody else. So because of these reasons, Mahalakshmi, in here Nappinai Pirati, she is the one who is standing in that position, and she wants to represent them in front of Narayana. So now they are joining together and they are actually trying to pray here. So Pasuram for today is ettRa kalangal எதிர்பொங்கி மீதளிப்பா மாற்றாதே பால் சொரியும் வள்ளல் பெரும் பசுக்கள் ஆற்றப் படைத்தான் மகனே அறிவுராய். So what are they trying to say? ettRa kalangal means pots, containers. So apparently what is the scene that they are trying to describe here? The situation in Ayurpadi, particularly in the home of Nandagopala, was that they had several cows. They were very rich, right? So they had a lot of wealth in the form of Vallal Perum Pasuggal. So they had big cows, and they had very charitable cows. Charitable cows means they would give plenty of milk, right? So this is the kind of cows that they had. So now apparently the scene there was that anybody, no matter which size container you bring, immediately the cows are capable of filling that container, and that container would overflow, right? So that is the scene that they are describing there in the house of Nandagopala, right? And now they are saying, in the house of such wealthy Nandagopala, this Magane, they are trying to call to Krishna, that, oh Krishna, who is present in the house of such wealthy Nandagopala, what is the wealth he has? All this Vallal Perum Pasuggal, right? So these are the kinds of cows that he owns, right? So he is very rich, right? That is what they are trying to glorify here. Arivurai, now they are asking that Nandagopala to wake up. The Krishna who belongs to that house of Nandagopala to wake up, right? They are petitioning to that Krishna here in this passage. So, and then what they are saying next, Uttamudayai Periyai. Now they are saying this Krishna is someone who possesses a certain kind of firmness of resolve, right? If he undertakes something, he's definitely going to do it. So that quality of Krishna is something they are resolving, because in the past, at this point, they are speaking to Krishna with a full understanding that he is none other than Narayana. So it's not like they are trying to speak to, some Krishna who has arrived there. These gopis, they are very knowledgeable of who this Krishna is. So they are trying to petition to him, saying, you are someone who is periyai, someone who is inestimable. No one can estimate the length and breadth of your glories, how big you are, right? The Vedas cannot describe how great he is. So that is the nature of Paramatma that they are trying to glorify here. Uttamudayai, and who is someone of firm resolve, and he who can only be established by a firm pramana, right? This is the other meaning. He is not someone, and we will get into the meaning of that. That means he can only be established using Veda as pramana. Okay, so we'll get into the details of that. And then Uraginil Totramai Ninna Sudare Tuilalai. Now again they are asking him to wake up, and they are saying, who are you? Why did you even appear in this world? You have appeared in this world only to offer protection to us. That is the reason you have come so close to us, right? Otherwise, there is no point in even God appearing in this world. He can remain where he is in Vaikuntha. We are here. We'll be happy. He'll be happy, right? The reason he has come all the way, taking the trouble, from somewhere in, Paramapadam to Vyuha, from Vyuha to Vibhava and so on. The reason he has taken all this trouble is to become increasingly more and more accessible to all of us. That is the reason he has come so close to us. Now, having come so close to us, what is the point in remaining somewhere locked up in a room? So you please open the door and, give us access to you. So you appeared in this world, Shudare. And they are still saying, just because you appeared in this world doesn't mean that, you are not the supreme being. You are that luminous one, the supreme luminous one, right? The Param Jyoti that the Vedas describe, right? That is who you are. That is what they are saying. Tuilladai, please wake up from sleep. மாற்றாரனுக்கு வழி தொலைந்து உன் வாசகன் ஆற்றாது வந்து. So now they are saying that your enemies, so there are two kinds of people. Both have to finally become subordinate to Paramatma, right? People who are enemies of Paramatma, because he defeats them with his arrows or, whatever happens to them, eventually they have to come and fall at the feet of Paramatma. And the other class of people are people who are devoted to him. They just get sold to Paramatma looking at his qualities. So they also become subordinate to Paramatma. So both kinds of people eventually have to get subordinate to Paramatma. So that is what they are describing, that we are someone who came here unable to tolerate that separation from you. So we have come here because we got sold to your qualities. In the past, we may have belonged to that category of enemies, because we may have said that who is God, I can do whatever I want, I am my own ruler, I don't want to obey anybody. In this way we might have behaved in past lives, or maybe even in this life. But after realizing the glory of Paramatma, after realizing how many wonderful qualities he has got, we would definitely say, hats off to you, my Lord. I salute to you, I surrender to you. This is what we can say. So in this way the Gopikas are actually letting him know. Un adi paniyuma pole, that means all we want to do is potriyam vandom pulundu. So all we want to do is just glorify your lotus feet. We want to do Mangala Sasnam to your lotus feet. Why this lotus feet? In the beginning we have discussed, because it is those feet of the Lord which made him descend all the way from there to here. So that is why we glorify those feet, because that is what made him come all the way here. So yam vandom pulundu. So we have come all the way here praising you. So you please come and open this door. This is our vratam. Is what they are trying to say. So this is the external meaning of the Pasuram. Now we'll try to understand some of the internal beauties that are contained in this Pasuram as commented by our Purvacharyas. So the first thing, so if we see about Nandagopan, several things have been identified about Nandagopan since the beginning of Thiruppavai. Right? In the very first Pasuram, we were told that Nandagopan is whom? Kurvel Todindolilan Nandagopan. Right? That was the first thing that was told, that he is someone who has, some sort of a spear in his hand, because if a slightest harm comes to Krishna, he is ever ready to protect and defend Krishna, right? To make sure that no danger comes to Krishna. So that is the first quality that they glorify. Then in the 16th Pasuram, they said he is the Nayakan, right? He is the leader of all of us. That is the next thing that they said. Then they said in the 17th Pasuram, what did they say? Ambarame tannire sore aram sayum. So there they said that you are a very charitable person, right? Someone who is capable of giving whatever, people desire. So charitability is something they glorified of Nandagopan. Now, what did they say in the 18th Pasuram Mundumada Gadittan? They said that Nandagopan possesses a lot of power, right? He possesses a lot of power. So, this power they compared to even the power of a mad elephant, right? An intoxicated elephant. The power that an intoxicated elephant has is it has the ability to completely destroy an entire village. That is how much powerful it is. So they said Nandagopan is actually very powerful. He has the power to actually, the strength to protect from inimical forces. That is one understanding. The other understanding is he is someone who is possessing Krishna, who has that kind of power. So Krishna is compared to that elephant there, right? So this is the other meaning. And then now they are trying to say that Nandagopan is someone who is very wealthy. So in other words, who is this Nandagopan? Nandagopan is none other than Acharya, right? This is what we have all heard in the previous Pasurams. What are all these qualities of an Acharya? The first thing that they said is Acharya is someone who has always a spear and he is able to defend and protect Krishna. This is the nature of Acharya Tattva. In this world, there will always be people who try to deny the existence of God, who try to misrepresent what God is, misrepresent the position of God. They say that God has no features, no attributes, nothing. In this way, there are so many different darshanas, that are all deviant from the true picture present in the Vedas. So an Acharya is the one who upholds the truth contained in the Vedas. He tries to truly present the nature of Narayana as he is. So that is the nature of Acharya. He always tries to defend the position of Narayana, right, as represented in the Veda. Right? That is who an Acharya is. And if anybody comes to, attack that true position, then Acharyas are always there to defend and present logical arguments based on the Veda, with Veda as the Pramanam. Right? So that is the nature of Acharya that is being talked about. And the second thing is they are saying that Nandagopan is their Nayakan. Nayakan means leader. In other words, Acharya is the one who leads the Jiva to Paramatma. So that leadership of Acharya is being glorified in that Pasuram. Then they are talking about the charitability, right? That is the third thing they are trying to talk about. Now, Acharya is the one who leads us to a state where we understand. So in that Ambarame Tannire Sore Aram Seyum, we have actually seen how one understands Paramatma to be Dharakam, Poshakam, and Bhogyam, right? Like in this world, there are always three kinds of things, right? If we, when we are fasting, let's say for a few days, we are somewhere lost in a certain place, we are fasting. Then if we at least drink water, we can sustain, for one more day or 2 more days. So that is called Dharakam because it sustains us, right? Then that water alone is not sufficient for us to get strength, right? For us to survive. So we need some food, right? That food becomes Poshakam because it nourishes us. So water is just Dharakam, but food becomes Poshakam. But now, as long as we are able to get anything, any food, reasonable food, even if it's just a parpu sadam or something, we'll be happy, right? Because after so many days, we got something, we are happy, right? But, let's say we got gulab jamuns and appalam and all these things, then, it's a grand meal, right? This is bhogyam, right? These are all not necessary, but, if they are all available, that is bhogyam. So in this way, the nature of enjoyables in this world belong to these three categories. But the nature of, someone like Nammalvar is unnum sorum, pargum neerum, tinnum vettilayum, ellam kannan. That everything for him is kannan himself, right? Paramatma is that dharakam, Paramatma is that poshakam, Paramatma is that bhogyam. Acharya is a person who leads the jiva to this state, where a jiva comes to the point of feeling that Paramatma himself is everything for me. So this is the nature of Acharya that is being glorified in the next Pasuram. Then the strength of an Acharya is being glorified, right? An Acharya is very powerful. What is the power of an Acharya? There are so many enemies that come to attack us, right? Kamsa is nothing but the mind, right? This Kamsa keeps sending so many enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha. In this way, there are so many inimical forces that keep coming, right? And then all these forces, an Acharya is capable of subduing them so that the Jiva is able to progress in the realization of Paramatma, right? This is another power an Acharya has got. So this is another characteristic that they are glorifying. And they're also saying that just like, Nandagopan had Krishna under control, Acharya is always someone who has Perumal under his control. And this is a very important thing for us to understand how powerful an Acharya is, right? The supreme lord of everything becomes subordinate to an Acharya, right? And then in today's Pasuram, which is the 21st Pasuram, they are trying to describe the nature of an Acharya, right? Here they are trying to describe a scene where the Acharya, that is Nandagopan, he has several Vallal Perum Pasukal, right? And then the nature of these pasus that the Acharya has is that anybody comes to those pasus with any kind of patram, right? No matter of what size that patram is, they are always able to fill that patram, right? And it also tells them that if you come to that cow with a small cup, then that cup is all you can fill. If you come to that, that cow with a huge bhanda, then you can fill that entire bhanda and it will still overflow. So in this way, depending upon the eligibility of the Shishya, the Acharya gives what the Shishya needs, right? What are all these Vallal Perum Pasukal? So two meanings have been given. One is, these are nothing but the Vedas, right? They are Vallal because the Vedas are actually very charitable. Why are they charitable? Because Ramanujacharya in the Gita Bhashyam, he says, Mata Pitru Sahasrebhyaha Vatsalataya, right? That Vatsalatarataya. he says that, the Vedas are so, they have so much parental affection towards us, as much as thousands of parents would have, right? Not just one parent's affection, right? If a thousand parents, if we have 1,000 parents and they all show affection on us all at once, that is how much affection Vedas have got. Because of that affection that the Vedas have, they have something in them to satisfy the needs of everybody. If you go to a Target store, a Walmart store, or anything, right? We don't purchase everything from that store, but that store has everything to satisfy everybody's needs, right? Just if you take the apparel section, there are shirts ranging from XS size to, triple XL or 3S, 4, 4S, and so on, right? Just because the sizes exist doesn't mean they're all for us, right? We just take the shirt that suits our size. Similarly, Vedas also have something for everybody, depending upon what desires they have, depending upon what they want to get. Vedas prescribe a process for them. They prescribe how to, get that particular goal, right? This is, therefore, they are actually very charitable, because no matter who what, they can actually give. And they are also, Perum Pasukal, because Ananta Vai Veda, it is said, right? They are actually unlimited. There are so many branches in the Vedas, and they have the ability to satisfy everything, right? And within those, and these Vedas, and the Veda Upabrahmanas, that means explanations of Vedas like Itihasas, Puranas, and all these things, are something that Acharyas have completely, learned. So they are all within their possession. Using the knowledge contained in these things, when Sishyas come to them, Acharyas are capable of satisfying the desires of Shishyas. If the Sishyas come with only some kind of materialistic desire, Acharyas say that, okay, you do this, your desire will be fulfilled. You perform this ishti, your problem will be solved, right? But if the Sishyas come and say, I want to learn, I want to gain jnanam about Perumal, you please teach me, then the Acharyas teach profusely. In fact, they teach so much that, just this Thiruppavai Pasurams are proof, right? How much is contained in one Pasuram that it is hard for us to, just comprehend everything. Our minds will overflow with the amount of realizations contained in one Pasuram, right? That is the nature of these teachings of Thiruppavai. So this is how all Acharyas' commentaries are, because they are endless, their knowledge of scriptures are endless, so their realizations are endless. So when they actually shower that milk, right, that pal, then it is going to overflow. Right? This is what is going to happen. This is one meaning. The second meaning is, this is actually referring to, Dandagopan is here, representing a Paramacharya. That Paramacharya may have several Jnanis, several Mahatmas, several Bhagavatas who take shelter of them. So they are all those cows that are present under that Paramacharya, right? And then they themselves are capable of filling the patrams of several Sishyas under them. So this is the other way in which, our Purvacharyas have realized beauty present in this particular passage. So, this is what is being talked about here. Now, the other nature that is being talked about here is also one more thing that is being talked about here is the charitability of the Acharyas is such that if we just come and ask one thing, they are endlessly giving in nature, right? Just like, Krishna and, Arjuna, he just came and asked one thing, right? What is the one thing he asked? Yat sreyasyat nishchitam bruhitanme. That is really all he asked. That's all. But Krishna went on and bhuya eva mahabahu. Again, again and again. He wanted to give so much that he did not stop until Arjuna said, okay, I accept, I'm going to fight again. Stop this Bhagavad Gita. Right? So he went on. And this is how all Acharyas are. Right? We just approach for one thing, but they are endlessly giving. Their charitability of Acharyas is so much that they want to give so much, because they have so much bhakti towards Paramatma that they want to give everything that they know, right? When their kataksham falls on a particular disciple, they give everything to that disciple. So this is another beauty that is experienced here, right? Now, such a Nandagopan's son is to whose house they have come to pray. In other words, what are they indicating? Who are they praying to? They are not praying to the Paramapadanatha, someone who is present in Vaikuntham. They are not praying to the Vyuha Vasudeva, somebody who is present somewhere else. They are glorifying the Saulabhyam of the Lord. He has become so accessible that for our sake, he has come right here. It is that Lord to whom they are actually petitioning and praying, not some God who is somewhere. Because the confidence in us increases when we feel that, Perumal is right here. For us, what that means is the Archa Vigraham that is present right in our homes, which, our Acharyas have blessed us with, right? He is right here. That faith is going to give a lot of confidence in us. We are not praying to some tattva somewhere that we don't know, we haven't ever seen, and so on. We are praying to that tattva which is right here, which is always listening to us, which is accepting whatever we are offering to that tattva, right? Every day. So that relationship, that closeness comes when we actually see how much accessible, right? The extent to which Lord has made himself accessible to all of us, right? So that is the quality that they are glorifying by saying that you are that Nanda Gopan's Magan, that you have come all the way here, right? Instead of identifying yourself with the eternal title of Narayana that you have got, right? And with the title of, Paramapadanatha, he has chosen to identify himself with, after all, a cowherd clan, right? And he became that son of, Nandagopa. That is what he loves to be called, right? So that is indicating how much he has become accessible to all of us. So this is the other thing that they have said here. Now, Utramudayai Periyai. Now, this is talking about two things about this, right? Utramudayai means one who possesses firmness of resolve. Paramatma's firmness of resolve is such that no matter if he makes a promise, he is definitely going to fulfill that promise. This is how much, yesterday we have seen, and yesterday's Pasuram, that, in the case of Draupadi, he has promised that he is definitely going to, do justice to whatever has happened to her. And he ensured that justice happened to her, right? He made sure that entire Mahabharata war happened and all the people were, all the inimical people were killed, and then justice happened to Draupadi, right? This is not just one instance. There are, several other instances. Even in the Ramayana, we say that Rama says, Apyaham jivitam jahye tvam va site salakshmanam, right? Even if my own, life goes away, or even Sita, if something happens to you, or even Lakshmana, if something happens to you, we all know this prana jaya par vachana na jaya, right? That is the nature of Rama. That even if that statement came from this slokam in Ramayana, right? That even if life goes away, his word he will not leave. If he gives a word, he will keep it. So this is the firmness of resolve that they are trying to glorify, that you said you are going to give that parai to us. So now they are holding him accountable. Come on, where is this? How can you hide inside a room, right? We have come all the way to your door and we are knocking on it and you are not opening it, right? So please come out and give what you want to give. So this is what they are trying to say. The second thing is, the truth about Paramatma can only be established through Vedam. And Vedam is that firm pramanam. What is a pramanam? Pramanam means source of knowledge, right? How do we know what we know? Okay. This is basically what pramanam is. So how do we know whether God exists or who is God? Somebody may think that pratyaksham is the proof. Somebody may say, in my village, I'm just pouring milk, the deity is drinking milk. So therefore God exists. So they start propagating that God exists. Somebody else may say, to my deity, I'm pouring milk, it's all flowing out, so God doesn't exist. So now this is, pratyaksham is failing here, because somebody is putting forward an argument that, their understanding of God is that, the other person may say, yes, there's some surface tension phenomenon is going on. So entire milk is getting absorbed. So therefore that it has nothing to do with God being there or not being there. So in this way, pratyaksham is destroyed. So just because you see something with your eyes doesn't mean that is proof that God exists, right? Similarly, and somebody may have some, dream or something like that, some visualization, something, hallucination, something may happen and they may say, others may not see. So these are all all these things cannot be proofs that God exists or who God is, right? Because one person may dream, that, anything, and, this person is some bhutam or something. Anantan may say, I got a dream that Rishi is bhutam. Then that cannot be accepted as pramanam, right? Rishi may feel that, Anantan is bhutam. So, hope you don't mind. I just took a, example. So, this is not proof that, something is actually the truth, right? So therefore, pratyaksham is dependent upon your abilities to see or not see, the amount of access you have, right? And you may be subject to illusions. You may be subject to, some defective knowledge about anything. So all these things can affect your knowledge about what is the reality. So therefore, you cannot trust your own indriyas to let them tell you what the truth is, right? So pratyaksham fails. Similarly, anuman means inference or logic. Somebody may say something, somebody may come up with some logic and say, I prayed, immediately I got 100 out of 100 in my exam, or something like that. Somebody else will pray, they won't get. So they may say that God exists. Here they may say that God doesn't exist. So somebody else will always come up with another powerful logic. So logic is inconclusive, because you may, with your own mind, with your own ability, you may try to come up with a reason, but somebody else may present a more powerful reason and destroy your logic. So logic is always inconclusive to conclude that, this person is God, or God exists, or God doesn't exist, and so on, or how many gods exist. There are so many, at least in other religions, there is such confusions don't exist. At least they accept one. But in Hinduism, there is so much confusion about, how many gods exist and all these things also. So now, how do we know what the truth is, right? So the only way truth can be known is through Shastra. Shastra Yonitvat, says Vyasa in Brahma Sutras, that the nature of Brahman can only be determined using Shastra as Pramana. Veda has to tell us how many gods exist, who that God is, or what is the nature of God, right? Any of these things cannot be ascertained using our own intellect or our own pratyaksha or our own ability to conclude things or reason out things, right? So that means the pramanam of Vedam is, it is very firm in nature, that it is unshakable in nature. Nobody can challenge the Vedam, right? That it's authority on its own, right? On its own strength. So therefore, the Vedam is the only thing. So Paramatma, they are glorifying that you are someone who is known only through this Vedam, right? And then Periyai. Paramatma's nature is, he is inestimable. What is his inestimable nature? What did he say in Bhagavad Gita? Yadyad vibhuti matsattvam Srimad Urjitameva va. Loud. Next slokam. Athava bahunetena किम ज्ञातेन तवार्जुना विष्टभ्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत. So he said, after describing so many glories of Paramatma, right, in the entire chapter, almost 72 or 78 things he lists there, right? That, how is the sun working? How is the moon working? How are the mountains sustaining? How are the rivers sustaining? How are the devatas having their powers? How are the rishis having their powers? Who is ruling the devatas? Who is ruling the danavas? In this way, he covers so many categories there. And finally, he says, Ekamshena sthito jagat. Yadyad vibhuti matsatvam srimadurjitameva. All these things that I have talked about, all these vibhutis are just a small fraction of my energy, he says. That means we can just imagine the extent of his power, right? How powerful he is. Just looking at one entity called the sun, he begins there, Adityanam Aham Vishnuhu, right? That one entity is sufficient for us to understand how powerful the sun is. That one sun is lighting up the entire universe. It is providing heat to the entire universe. At least, even if we believe that the universe is our solar system, at least it's sustaining at least that much, right? But the Vedas say that sun is actually sustaining everything. So now we can imagine, if that one sun doesn't exist, everybody in all planets will freeze to death, right? That one sun is really sustaining everything. Now, who is becoming the source of that sun? He is saying, I am that source, right? Now, so many such objects he is listing, and he is saying, just understand, how many powerful things exist, and all those powers are just a small fragment of my energy, he's saying. Then we can understand how powerful Paramatma is. So therefore, the Vedam also, just in trying to describe one quality of Paramatma called Anandam, the Vedam started with human happiness, multiplied that 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, all the way till the happiness of Brahma. And then said, after this, I cannot multiply by 100 to say that that is equal to Paramatma's happiness. That means Vedam failed in describing the happiness of Paramatma, just one quality of Paramatma. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidwan. So just this one quality of Paramatma is such that, even the Veda, it went all the way till there. Sometimes Acharyas say, again the Vedam said, maybe I made a miscalculation. It came all the way down. Again, it started multiplying by 100, 100, 100, all the way there. Again, it felt, no, I'm still not able to reach Paramatma. Again, it came down. Again, it started with, Devas, happiness, Prajapatis, Ajanaja, Devas, and then Pitrus, and then in this way, Gandharvas, Deva Gandharvas, Manusha Gandharvas. In this way, it started multiplying everybody's happiness, but it couldn't estimate the nature of Paramatma's happiness. So in this way, Paramatma is someone of inestimable glory, that his glory cannot be estimated. So he's that kind of Pariyaya. Now that Paramatma, that's why Namo Namo Vang Manasati Bhumaye, right? Namo Namo Vang Manasaika Bhumaye. So it's very interesting how he put it, right? He is actually a Vang Manasati Bhumaye. He is someone who cannot be understood by Vak or Manas. But he is so compassionate that that person who cannot be understood, he makes himself accessible even to our ordinary minds and, our speech. Because he is being accessible to our speech, we are able to recite Vishnu Sahasranamam or Divya Prabandham or any of these things, right? He who cannot be glorified, we are trying to glorify. See how wonderful this is, right? This is his glory. So anyway, this is something that they are trying to glorify here about Paramatma. Then, Ulaginil Totramai Ninra Sudare. Now they are saying Paramatma's nature is such that he Ajayamano Bahuda Vijayate, says the Vedam, that he who has no birth has taken birth. Right? It's very interesting. He has no birth means he has no birth out of karma. Why do we all take birth? To experience the results of our past karmas. Right? That is why we all take birth. Right? We try to enjoy the fruits of our actions, or we try to suffer from the consequences of something that we have done. Right? Therefore, we suffer in this life. So in this way, we take birth because of karma. But Paramatma has no karma because of which he is taking birth. Then why is he taking birth? He is taking birth out of compassion. Just like, when a child falls in a manhole, the parent also gets into the manhole. Why did the child fall? Because of their negligence. But the parent did not get in because of negligence. The parent got in to pull the child out. Right? So Paramatma also enters this place to pull all of us out. So that is the reason for his birth. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Right? So he comes out of sambhavami atmamayaya. He comes out of his own will. There is nothing that is forcing him to come. Right? It is his choice that he is making to take birth. And ajayamano bahudha vijayate, bahuni me vyathitani, he says. He takes many births. He takes births even in the worst of species. Do we ever want to take birth like a pig? No. Right? But he took birth, right? Yes. So do we want to take birth like a tortoise? No. But he took birth, right? Do we want to take birth like a fish and get lost in an ocean? Definitely not. Right? But he did, right? So why is he taking all these births? To protect the jivas. Always for protecting us in some form, he is taking so many births. And his births cannot even be counted. Right? That is how many times he is taking birth. Right? So this is the nature of Paramatma. But just because he has taken birth doesn't mean that he is one among us. Right? This is something that we have to understand. Because he says, Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam parambhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Right? That he says, Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam. Right? Just because I take a human-like form, there are mudha, fools who think that I am also a human. Right? People like Duryodhana and all, they thought he's also a human. Shishpala, right? He thought he's also a human. He is just an extraordinary human, someone like a superhero. Someone like Rajnikant. He's capable of doing anything, but he's just, just another. He can stop trains. He can stop anything. Whatever he wants, he can do. Right? That's what they thought, apparently. But he is not like that. He's saying, Parambhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. They don't understand my supreme nature, that I am the Lord of all beings. This they don't understand. Right? This is what Paramatma is saying. So the Shudare is indicating that his original nature of being that, that supreme light, that is uncontaminated by anything. That doesn't change just because he comes as a human being, just because he engages in all these activities which seem like human activities. Ramavataram, it's verily human. Atmanam manusham manye Ramam Dasarathatmajam. He said, right? That he himself declared that I am human being. When all the devatas said, no, you are the Supreme Lord, he said, no, I'm a human being. So all his activities were extremely human in Ramavataram. But just because he did those activities doesn't make him an ordinary person. Because in the same Ramavataram, he said, I can protect you from all beings. Right? Abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami. And he listed all the bhutas also. Yakshas, Rakshasas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Devas, Gandharvas. Anybody does anything, I can protect, he said. Just with my toenail or something. He said that I can protect. They don't even compare to my toenail, he said. In one moment, in a fit of anger, he told the truth. That he is the Supreme Lord. Right? So in this way, Paramatma's supreme nature will not go away just because he takes birth. So this is what they are trying to say. And the other thing is, every time he does these things, Shudare means just like the nature of a lamp or anything or a light is to illuminate, he illuminates his nature for two reasons. So that people like Shishupala and Duryodhana, they can complain about him. Those activities appear to them like they can get a list where they can scold Paramatma with those and criticize Paramatma, right? Openly he declined Duryodhana's invitation. That Duryodhana wanted to give him a feast. He said, no, I'm not taking at your place. And he arranged a feast at Bhishma's place. He said, no, I don't want to eat there. He arranged a feast at Dronacharya's place. He said, no, I don't want to eat there. He went straight to Vidra's place and whatever Vidra fed, he ate. This made Duryodhana upset. He got angry. He said, you are Pundarikaksha, you have big eyes. Can't you see that I have arranged all these things? He said, no, Dvishadannam na bhoktavyam dvishantam naiva bhojayed. At enemy's place, one should not eat. This has angered him like anything. Where did he become an enemy? He was nicely trying to honor a feast. And if you come to somebody's home and say, no, at enemy's places, I don't, they'll get upset. They'll get very angry, right? So this is what Krishna did. Intentionally he did. He messed up. Duryodhana may have given something to Krishna at least. He may, okay, 5 villages I'll give to Pandavas, let them rule. Because he said it, he got so upset. He said, no, I'm not going to give even a pinprick of land. Do whatever you want. Krishna said, all right, my task is over, accomplished. War is certain. So in this way, he does those things, right? The same activities, and devotees glorify these activities. All the activities that he has done, all the great Bhagavatas have glorified every activity, including stealing butter, everything, right? To others like Shishupala, that's a complaint. See, he steals butter from innocent gopis. But devotees, they think, Paramatma is so merciful that even to ordinary homes he is coming and he's taking something to give them something. Right? In this way, the same activities become like that, right? So he is illuminated. So, Maattarunakku Valitolayendu Unvasargan Aatradu Vandu. Now, this is also talking about the nature of Paramatma, which is, twofold in nature. That people who are inimical, people who carried that inimical attitude towards Paramatma, or people who have committed so many offenses towards Paramatma, eventually they may roam around for some time. They may say, I'm supreme, there's nobody, somebody will protect me. In this way, they'll keep roaming around. Eventually, they have to come and fall at the feet of the Supreme Lord. Right? The example of Kakasura is given. Sa pitacha parityaktaha. He was, as soon as Kakasura came, who was his pita? Indra himself, right? So he came to Indraloka. He said, no, door shut. It's COVID time, you go away. He put his mask. If you come, everybody will get infected, you go away, he said. So that means, in other words, Rama's, anger is going to hit entire Indraloka, Swarga, everything will get destroyed, you please go away. He shut his doors. He said, so they throw his suitcase out and he said, go away from here, don't come. Right? Then, Suraischa Maharshibihi, so many devatas' place he went, everybody declined him. So many Maharshis he went to, everybody declined him. Threen Lokan Samparikramya. All the 3 worlds, Samparikramya. So, not just ordinary parikrama. Samparikramya means again and again he thought somebody is going to protect somewhere, right? But, none of them helped. Tameva Sharanangataha. Finally, he came back to that feet of Rama and he fell at Sita's feet. She, did this to him and his head turned towards Rama's feet, right? Finally, that is what. Same thing with Durvasa Maharshi. He offended Ambarisha. Right? He went to all the lokas. Nobody could shelter him. Finally, he had to come to Vishnu to get the protection from Sudarshan. Right? In this way, eventually, even if somebody is inimical to him, eventually they have to come back and fall at his feet. For how long can they go on? How many lokas can they go? This is actually establishing that nobody in any world can actually give protection. If at all we get agraham from Paramatma, only he can save us. Nobody else can do anything. Right? This is something that is repeatedly established through multiple pastimes in the scripture. Right? So this is something that they are saying. What about devotees? In the case of people like Lakshmana and so on, they just, because of his gunas, they became his, he says that in the eyes of the world, I am his younger brother. But as far as I am concerned, I am just his servant. Why am I servant? Because I'm sold for his qualities, the kind of qualities he has got, says Lakshmana. Right? So, as far as devotees are concerned, when they hear how great Paramatma is, they get sold to that and they'll just become subordinate to him. Right? In this way, everybody has to eventually come to him. Everybody has to fall at his feet. So, even if you may be thinking that we have committed some papams and we have ran away from you, and we are there were he says that Shruti Smritir Mamevagna Yastvam Ullanghya Vartate Agna Chedi Mamadrohi, right? Madbhaktopi na Vaishnava. That the Shruti and Smritis are nothing but my injunctions. So Agna Chedi, we have declined the instructions so many times because many of us don't even know what instructions exist. Then what will we follow? What will we not follow? We don't even know what to follow, what not to follow. So then, in this way, Mama Drohi, he said, that means that is all Droham being committed towards Paramatma, right? So, in this way, there are so many mistakes we are filled with. But despite all of that, we know that the ultimate destination is coming to your lotus feet. So, we have come to your lotus feet now. So, now please protect us, please shelter us. This is what they are saying, right? So, finally, we have come to your lotus feet and we have started glorifying your lotus feet. So please give us shelter of that lotus feet and please accept us back, is what these gopikas are praying today. I know I went very long. I'm really sorry. Thank you all. Andal, Emberumanar, Jiyar, Tiruvadagale Sharanam. We'll close for today here. If anybody has anything they want to ask, they can ask. Otherwise, we'll or share anything. Anybody remote too. If anybody wants to share anything, they can share. If you want to share it, anybody else too.
So we said Vedas are Praman. So it's probably requires an elaborate answer, but has there been question about